Talk 20. I believe in miracles. Doubt and faith. A Sufi story. We need a talk, they all said. But the temple didn't have a monk. Where there is that one weirdo monk up at the hill. Okay, if there is really no one else. He arrived. Hands up if you already know what I am going to say. No one put their hands up. Then you are too unready to teach. Bye. And he walks out. Next week, the monk shows up. Hands up if you already know what I am going to say. Half the congregation put their hands up. Then you half tell the other half what needs to be said. Bye. Doubt. When doubt appears, what are you doubting? The teaching, the teacher, or your own capacity to, understand? Notice whether doubt protects you from disappointment or keeps you from commitment. Faith need not mean certainty. It may simply mean willingness to continue. The monastery car was very old, not very good. Look, the windscreen wiper is not working, the driver said. We took it into the garage and asked the owner, how about a windscreen wiper for our vehicle? The owner looked carefully at the car slowly, and then he said, okay then, it's a deal. Meaning he's going to swap one windscreen wiper for our car. On the rear view wing mirror was written, objects in mirror are closer than they appear. So we drove around in reverse to save petrol. Doubt is not the enemy of faith. It is a testing ground. When examined carefully, doubt exposes weak assumptions. And doubt strengthens what survives scrutiny. Faith that has passed through questioning becomes steadier, less fragile, and less dependent on mood or external reassurance. The power of self-belief, monk, and the magical amulet story. A hard-working boy doubted himself and failed despite effort. A monk gave him an amulet and told him to spend a night alone in a crematorium. Frightened, but trusting the amulet, he faced his fear and survived. Believing it protected him, his confidence grew and success followed. A year later, the monk revealed that the amulet was empty. It was never magic. It was faith. The boy realized success came not from the object, but from the confidence awakened within himself. So with you, when doubts cloud the mind, pause and steady attention on the breath. Let agitation settle naturally rather than arguing with thoughts. Like mud sinking in water, clarity returns when disturbance stops. Faith begins not with forcing belief, but with calming the mind. Recall a time when doubt prevented a mistake. Recall another when it blocked growth. What distinguishes wisdom from fear? Faith is not blind belief, but tested confidence, built slowly through experience, through reflection, and honest questioning over time. Now, a quote from another religion. And God said to John, "Come forth, and you shall be granted eternal life." But John came fifth, and he won a toaster. Have you heard of the soldier who survived pepper spray and mustard gas? Yeah, he's a seasoned veteran. And how do you talk to dead Italians? With a Luigi board. An apprentice starts studying with a master. In the morning, the master tells him a secret mantra to practice and says not to disturb him as he will meditate by the river. Go to the temple on the other side and practice. Later, the master sits beneath a banyan tree as the still river flows gently by. Birds chirp. He hears plip, 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 plip. He opens his eyes. The apprentice is walking briskly towards him on the water's surface. Breathless, he arrives. Master, sorry, what was that word again? In moments of uncertainty, what steadies you? Evidence? Community? Memories of past ideas and insights? Notice how faith often grows quietly from small confirmations rather than dramatic revelations. Doubt can refine faith when examined carefully instead of suppressed and instead of indulged. In my first temple, I was attending an ordination of a Scottishman called Stephen. Me and a Sri Lankan monk helped out. It was a mass ordination, about 25 monks being ordained together. A monk came to me and asked, had he been given his name yet? Steve? No. Okay. What day of the week were you born? The monk asked. Thursday. The monk pulled out a book of names. Thursday. Here it is. Titiko. Okay, bye. Titiko. And the monk moved briskly on. You're not calling me Titiko. But I had to go. Duties called. The abbot actually had a nickname for Stephen. 7 Up. Doubt asks, is this true? Faith asks, will I walk this path? One investigates, the other commits. Both are needed. Without doubt, belief becomes blind. Without faith, inquiry becomes endless hesitation, never ripening into lived understanding or transformation. Orpheus, his faith and his doubt, from ancient Greece. Orpheus, a musician whose song could tame beasts, lost his wife, Eurydice, to a snake bite. Grief drove him to the underworld, where his music moved Hades, king of the underworld, to pity. Eurydice could return on one condition. He must not look back until they reached the light. As Orpheus and Eurydice climbed from the darkness, doubt entered Orpheus's mind. Was she truly behind him? Just before reaching safety, he turned to check. In that instant, she vanished forever. Doubt destroyed what love had nearly restored. So instead of debating endlessly, test one teaching directly. Practice generosity, patience, or mindfulness for 1 week and observe the results carefully. Faith strengthens through verification. Small experiments build confidence much more reliably than abstract discussion or borrowed conviction from others. When confidence falters, remember someone who has crossed before you. Read their story, recall their steadiness, or seek guidance. Seeing that the path works for others gives courage to step forward, even when your own certainty feels incomplete. Observe how the mind seeks guarantees before acting. Is it realism or avoidance? Faith may be the courage to step forward without control, guided by values rather than certainty. Doubt asks questions. Faith decides to walk anyway. If you're feeling discouraged, always remember, confidence is 10% hard work and 90% complete delusion. In the Apanaka Jataka, 2 merchants cross a waterless desert. The first, foolish, believes demons disguised as travelers who promise a lush oasis ahead. He throws away his water to lighten the carts. There is no oasis. His caravan perishes. Weeks later, the Bodhisattva leads another caravan. Hearing the same promise, he questions it. In a desert, water does not appear suddenly. He keeps the supplies. His caravan survives and even returns with the abandoned goods. Discernment, not blind trust, leads to safety. When doubt repeats the same question, is it seeking truth or postponing responsibility? Notice whether investigation leads to clarity or circles endlessly. Faith sometimes begins when we stop demanding perfect answers. Faith sometimes begins when we commit to careful practice, even without complete certainty. 3 friends, a Christian, a Muslim, and a rabbi, bet that whoever converted a wild animal would win. A month later, The Christian and Muslim arrived, bruised and bandaged. The Christian tried converting an elk and was trampled. The Muslim tried a mountain lion and was chewed. The rabbi was in hospital, encased in plaster. What happened, they asked. I befriended a bear. I removed a thorn. I spoke of God. It followed me home, ready to convert. If I tried again, he sighed, I think I'd skip the circumcision. In Buddhism, not all doubt is the same. There is crippling doubt, which muddies the mind and leads to paralysis and endless indecision. And there is healthy doubt, honest inquiry, the kind that asks, investigates, tests, and gradually verifies truth through experience. At Jetavana, 30 monks came to see the Buddha. Knowing they were ready for awakening, he questions Sariputta before them. Sariputta, do you accept that meditation on the senses leads to nibbana? Sariputta replied, no, I do not accept it out of faith alone, but I do accept it from direct realization. The monks, angry, misunderstood, thinking he lacked faith. But the Buddha explained that true confidence comes from personal insight, not blind belief. One who realizes the unconditioned, cuts craving, and ends rebirth is truly noble. So when doubt arises, name it clearly. Confusion, fear, skepticism, fatigue. Distinguishing types prevents them blending into one heavy mood. Some doubts require investigation. Others require rest. Clarity about the doubt itself often weakens its grip and restores steadiness. Return to basic practices when faith feels thin. Ethical conduct, simple generosity, regular meditation. These are stabilizers. Instead of chasing inspiration, reinforce foundations. Confidence in the path grows when daily behavior aligns consistently with what you claim to value. What does doubt feel like in the body? Tightening, hesitation, restlessness. What does quiet confidence feel like? Reflect on how experience gradually builds trust over time. Faith may not grow from inspiration, but from repeatedly seeing wholesome actions bear steady fruit in daily life. In Egypt, there is an expression, trust in God, but still always tie your camel to a tree. I went to work there painting. One of the more eccentric people was an MP constructing a mega resort. He was called Camel. I used to say, trust in God, but always tie camel to a tree. In Egypt, faith was tested. I was asked to decorate a 350-meter hotel dome that was 9 floors up. An eye in the center, radiating light. One worker was afraid of heights. Nervous, climbing up, he lit a cigarette. The match broke and it went in his eye. He fell onto the stencil of the eye. I filled his eye with cooling water and then yogurt to cool it down and soothe it. Looking upwards all day is painful painting. The eye is just not evolved for it. I found a mindful trick though. Holding a mirror in my hand, I could relax and look down, seeing all the details of that which was above me very comfortably. Do you doubt your inner calm thoughts more than you doubt your fears? Consider how often negative predictions are believed without evidence or verification. Faith in Dharma can begin with small experiments. Act kindly, observe the result, and let direct experience slowly replace anxious speculation. A Thai man, a Sri Lankan man, and a Malaysian man were hiding in a barn after escaping from police. Hearing the police searching nearby, they each jumped into large sacks under blankets. The officers entered and grew suspicious. One kicked the first sack. Woof! Barked the Thai man, pretending to be a dog. They moved on. The second sack was kicked. Meow, said the Sri Lankan man. The officers nodded and walked to the last sack. They kicked it firmly. From inside came the reply, mangoes. Faith has 2 characteristics. First, it clears the mind, like a filter settling mud in water. Second, it gives courage to step forward, like crossing a river after seeing that it can be done. It is not blind belief, but verified confidence born from experience. In Rumi's telling of the elephant in the dark, several men enter a dark room to examine an elephant. One feels the trunk and says, it is like a water spout. Another touches the ear and says, it is a fan. One feels a leg and calls it like a pillar. Another the back and says, that's like a throne. Each is certain, yet each only knows one part. Later, 6 blind elephants discussed what men were like. They felt a man and agreed. Men are flat. Some more tactics. Set a time boundary for questioning. Reflect deliberately for 15 minutes and then act. Endless analysis drains energy without resolution. Faith matures when inquiry is balanced with commitment. Allow understanding to develop through experience rather than speculation alone. When questioning arises, write down the concern clearly. Then write down what still feels reliable. This balances investigation with appreciation. Faith does not silence doubt. It holds it within a wider frame of what has already proven steady and beneficial. Is your doubt protective? Is your doubt skeptical? Is your doubt cynical? Or is your doubt genuinely curious? Each carries a different tone and direction. Notice whether doubt opens inquiry or quietly closes possibility. Faith needs not silence questions. Faith may simply mean remaining open. If you remain open long enough, understanding may mature naturally. Returning to Philippines, a tricycle driver knew me and where to take me. I got in. We drove along. When I asked, how much was the ride? He said, 70 pesos. What? I protested. It was never that much before. He calmly reached up to his sun visor and pulled down a paper receipt with my signature on for 70 pesos. Faith is like learning to ride a bicycle at dusk in the evening. Doubt wobbles the handlebars and whispers, you will fall. The road is uneven, the light fading, and certainly never arrives in advance. Yet balance comes only through motion. If you refuse to pedal until completely sure, you remain frozen at the curb. When you begin anyway, small corrections steady you. The body learns what the mind could not calculate. Faith is not blindness. It is movement that gradually proves itself trustworthy. A woman walks into a library and asks if they had any books about paranoia. Librarian, they're right behind you. I once bought some used paint. You know what the shape of it was? It was in the shape of a house. Doubt is like fog on a mountain path. It obscures distance and direction, yet the ground beneath your feet remains solid. Faith is taking the next careful step, even while the summit is hidden. With each step, the fog thins and clarity slowly returns. Doubt multiplies when thoughts are believed without observation. Faith grows when experience is tested directly. When we observe breathing, precepts, kindness, and impermanence carefully, confidence arises from seeing patterns clearly, not from clinging to comforting imaginary ideas or authority. So doubt and faith are not enemies, they are partners in growth. Doubt asks us to look carefully, to test what we believe, to question easy answers. Faith gives us courage to move forward, even when certainty is incomplete. If we wait for absolute proof, we never begin. If we refuse to question, we never deepen. Walk with both. Let doubt keep you honest, and let faith keep you moving. In that balance, wisdom matures and confidence becomes grounded rather than blind. Faith is like planting seeds in dry soil. You water anyway, But doubt says nothing will grow. For days, nothing appears. Then one morning, green breaks through the surface. Trust was not naive. It was patience working quietly beneath the visible ground. Doubt can refine your thinking and prevent blind leaps. Faith can strengthen resilience and purposeful action. When balanced, they create psychological flexibility. Instead of seeking certainty, cultivate steady curiosity and tested confidence. Growth emerges when questioning sharpens understanding and commitment translates insight into lived experience. So I'd like to end this talk with wishing you well, my gratitude and appreciation for your kind attention. May many of you attain the peace of Nibbana and be free from all avoidable suffering and harm. May you all be peaceful, happy, safe, and well.